2 classes, just remember the techniques we've done from those 2 days. You guys have been here for the last 2 weeks, try to drill all of them, okay? So the first thing we do, a lot of times, remember, if they're focusing on your hips right now, you want to keep the position. But when his hands are closer to my hips, it's easier to start getting his collar. When he's blocking his collar, it's easier to start going to his hands, okay? So just keep that in mind. For right now, we're just gonna go to collar. You get the grip in here, you open it up, I pull my elbow to his sternum, I lift his head a little bit, I can either go thumb in the collar or you can grab the material. Thumb in the collar is tighter, but sometimes it's hard to get your thumb in the collar, especially if you have a tight gi and there's not a lot of space. I can see space, so I can put my thumb in the collar. Put it right here, I get a good grip, I duck his head out, I always put my head over to the side of my top arm, okay? I pull my elbows to my body and I squeeze 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, okay? If you're doing it right, it should be like this. Okay, one more time. I open up the collar, I feed it to this hand, okay? I get a good grip, I wanna make sure the blade of my wrist is already touching his neck. If there's space between my blade of my wrist and his neck, I don't have a choke. I'm gonna have to put a lot more energy than I need to, and I will not get the choke. So I slide it in, and I make sure the blade of my wrist is already touching the blade of his neck. I put my elbow on his sternum, and I lift his head a little bit off the mat so I can put this in there. I like to tuck my heels underneath his butt. That way, I'm anchored to him, it's easy for me to lean over, so I can just use him to hold, okay? If you don't want to, you can put your hand right here, that's fine, okay? Take this, grab either 4 fingers inside or grab the material right here. Duck his head out, make sure the blade of my wrist is touching on both sides before I even start squeezing, and I put my head the same side over my top hand.